I am using a very interesting camera angle that I'm not entirely sure will pay out once I transfer these images into my computer, but hey, I did not want to hold up the camera because my shoulder is hurting a bit today, so that's why we're using this very interesting camera angle. Hey guys, so I am starting this reading vlog. I'm starting it quite late because yesterday when I wanted to start it, I was kind of thinking that I had enough material for the next 3 weeks of, publishing my vlogs. And then it didn't really make sense for me to vlog this week because I was like, yeah, I don't want to get like my vlogs published too long after the week itself. But now I realize that I made a miscalculation somewhere. So if I don't vlog this week or next week, then at some point I'll run into trouble. So I'm deciding to vlog this week after all, because next week is my birthday week and I think I want to take a week off of vlogging at that point in time. But so we are Tuesday. I am at work at the moment. I'm at work. Clearly I'm at home, but it is still the work day at this point in time. It is my lunch break currently, but I did want to give you guys a sort of like short introduction into what I'm reading. So I'm currently reading The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri, which is a new release. It came out this month and I'm so happy that I'm reading this one. First up, gorgeous cover. I love myself the color yellow, as you can tell from my outfit, and so I'm very happy to have another yellow cover to go on my yellow shelf. But it's also Indian inspired fantasy. I love myself some fantasy that is not taking place in sort of like traditional settings, and so I also have a huge fascination for Asia, more specifically for China, because I studied Chinese. But I did doubt between Chinese and Japanese, for example, when I had that choice, and we didn't have any other choices because otherwise it would have been even more difficult to choose. But so I've always been fascinated by Asian cultures because they are just so different from our culture, and I'm always inspired. I'm always interested in other ways of living, other ways of seeing the world, and other ways of organizing your governments and things like that. All of those things, and so I really love diving into new cultures, and especially in fantasy. I've really been enjoying a lot of the fantasy that I've read that has had a very different setting than most of these sort of like traditionally published fantasy usually does. But so I am currently already like 200 pages into this book at this point in time, and I'm really enjoying it. It is a little bit of a slow-paced one, but I personally like slow-paced fantasy, and especially for the beginning of a series, that's perfectly normal. You do need to set up the story, you need to set up the different elements to its story, and especially with this one I've also been taking some time at the beginning to look more into certain terms that were being used, because certain terms will refer to the way that they're dressed or to certain sort of like folklore elements, and I wanted to make sure that I looked those up to see whether they were like part of real world elements, for example, that were introduced into fantasy, and to then have a sort of mental imagery of what's to imagine when these terms were being used, as well as for once I finally took the effort, I guess. I finally made the effort to also check the map when I'm reading, because I normally never check the map. I'm always too lazy to check the map. But at the beginning of this book, I definitely did do that to be able to kind of focus on the map and see where in the map we were being placed, or where the different players that we are introduced to are from. But so this is a sapphic fantasy romance set in an Indian-inspired world. It is a multiple perspective fantasy story, but the main two POVs that were introduced at the beginning, and then from time to time we do get a little bit of another perspective, but these two will remain throughout, are the perspective of our Princess Manili. She is the one that we're introduced at the beginning in the introduction. She is basically having a very difficult relationship with her brother, and her brother basically wants her to sacrifice herself, to burn in the flames and to purify herself and thus save the country. She, however, refuses, and as a consequence she is sent away to a rebellious part of the nation, where she is sent up, sequestered into sort of like prison cell in an ancient temple in which all of its previous participants have also been burned alive. Now, the other protagonist that we're looking at is Priya, and Priya actually has a dark secret because she used to be one of the children raised in that particular temple. She is one that escaped that fire, and nobody is allowed to know what happened there. So I am like 300 pages in, so a little over halfway through this book, and I think we're finally going to uncover a little bit more about the past of Priya. Priya is basically the character I love most at this point in the book, but that's also possibly due to the fact that she, out of our two like main characters, she has the most agency. She's the one who can move wherever she wants to. She also has this sort of like mystical link with the place that they are inhabiting, and so I'm really enjoying her character a whole lot, and the sort of like difficult alliances that she has to make, difficult relationship that she has with people, and difficult sort of like trust issues that she has. But so there have been hints before, like from the get-go we know that there's a lot about her past that she's kind of forgotten or chosen to forget, and there has been hints even more about one specific event that at some point she was kind of starting to remember, and then she was like, no, I don't want to go there, I don't want to remember that. And now it seems like she does want to dive back into that night, the night in which those temple children were killed, to figure out what happened to her that night. Hey guys, it is Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday. Jesus, it's Friday lunchtime, and almost time for the weekend. It is also almost time for my holiday because my holiday starts at the end of this workday. I don't really have much to do anymore. I need to train somebody for a backup very last minute. But apart from that, my region has been very kind to me and hasn't sent me new work today. They were also on holiday, like a part of it was on holiday yesterday, so maybe because of that. But it's looking like I'll have a chill final day before a holiday, which never happens. Usually the day before the holiday is frantic, and you spend way more time than, you spend overtime trying to round off as much as possible and make sure that the person behind you knows what they have to take care of. But so it's looking like a chill end to my work week now, and a nice transition into the holiday. But so I did not read as much as I wanted to throughout the week, and it's not sign of a slump this time, it is sign of gymnastics. It always happens when it's like heavy gymnastics time that I just get too excited about it. So I've been watching a whole lot of gymnastics content online, spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to watch the US Olympic trials, which I won't be able to watch live. I mean, I have not found an easy way to do it, so we'll just have to wait until the footage is dropped on YouTube and avoid social media at all costs. But so a lot of my time has gone into that. But I have still managed to read quite a lot. I've still managed to read about like 70 pages a day, which just wasn't like the 110 pages a day that I wanted to. So originally I was going to finish it yesterday, which didn't end up happening. I also won't be finishing it tonight unless like I really start to fly through that ending at a quicker pace than I have the previous days, but so potentially I'll only finish it tomorrow. My thoughts about it, I don't know. I don't think I'm in love with the book. I'm enjoying the book and I appreciate what it's doing, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to it. It has some very nice quotes in it, or like some very interesting things that it's discussing when it comes to, for example, the role of female in a male dominated society. There have been some very interesting quotes that have completely left my mind at this point in time, but there have definitely been quite some times in which I was like, that's really poignant, and I really like the way that it addresses this or the way that it handles that. But it's also not the case that I'm so committed to this book or so engrossed in this book that I just keep on flying through it. I am not bored when I'm reading it. I am not, struggling to get through it or struggling to pick it up, but it's also not actively calling out to me neither. would like to say good morning, but it's definitely already lunchtime. So yeah, I spent the night watching gymnastics. So up until like 4 o'clock at night, which would have been fine if it weren't for the fact that the construction crews here start at like 7:30, even on a Saturday. So yeah, I mean, I was able to kind of sleep through the noise from time to time. So in the end, like around 11 or something is when I got out of bed. But I don't know how much sleep I in total got, and I'm expecting some sort of a uh, sleep meltdown later today. But so far, we're still doing fine. But so yeah, I am so looking forward to Sunday night gymnastics because the person that I'm kind of rooting for. I mean, I'm rooting for multiple people, but some of them I feel like are a lock for the team. But the one that I really want to see get in there as well is Michaela Skinner, and so she was on fourth. She was the fourth placed after the first day of competition. So here's hoping that she has a great second day as well and that they select her because I really want to see her go. But so today I am going to have to fight my own laziness because I need to go to the store. And I'm not really feeling like it, but it's gonna end up happening because I usually have an iced coffee Sunday morning and I don't have any anymore. So that's my motivation to make sure that I get to the supermarkets. Hey guys, Sunday morning. So I finished the Jasmine drone yesterday. I didn't really change my mind after the ending. I think there was just some sort of emotional disconnect between me and the book. But so yeah, definitely still continuing. I would like for the world's building to be explored even further. I feel like I think it is an interesting world and I really am intrigued about the world, but I didn't get as much info as I would have wanted about this world. So hopefully we're gonna do that in the second book because the first book was for especially the first half or two-thirds maybe very much linked to one location, and so we didn't really spend a lot of time outside of that, and so we didn't get to explore the world perhaps as much as I would like, and so hopefully we'll do that within the second one. But so I also have started already another book. I started it earlier this week, but I haven't been doing much reading throughout the week in it, and that is Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. So this is my chain prompt for whatever you want it on because Jasmine Throne ended on an E, and so this book starts with an E. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine is a book about Eleanor Oliphant, who is somebody who leads a very controlled, regular life, and something is still missing. That's what I got from the cover. But so yeah, I'll be going through that one. I'm actually hoping to finish it today, which is very optimistic considering the fact that it's over 300 pages and I'm still under the 100 page mark. But in terms of the audiobook, I have like 9 hours to go and I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed at this point in time. So it's 6 hours of listening to the audiobook. So if I wanted to, I could definitely do it. So we'll have to see because it's also the second day of gymnastic trials tonight and I will be staying up for that. So, I mean, I don't necessarily need to make healthy choices here because I am on holiday for the next week, but the construction crew will start again at 7 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, I will definitely be super tired tomorrow, regardless of what I do. So, might as well. All right, guys. So, I am not done yet. I think I have some 60 pages to go until the end, but I am loving it. So I don't know whether it's good autism representation, for example. It's also not specified whether she is autistic or not. So that's just kind of an initial assumption based on the fact that she is kind of like she doesn't really know, she doesn't have great people skills, for example. But a lot of the book dives into the fact that there's some sort of past trauma with her. There's some sort of a reason why she has like facial burns, and it has to do something with her mother. And there are definitely a whole lot of suppressed memories there. And at this point in the book where I'm at now, like we at this point in the book where I'm at now, we've kind of had like the real like break down the lowest point where she's been at, and so we're kind of building her back up now. And so I've definitely been crying quite a little bit. This one is all about, at this point in time, about her accepting that she deserves to be loved and accepting that there are people who love her, even though she's never had that sort of experience in her childhood while she was growing up. And so it's just lovely to see that. And she just got given like, and I won't go into that because that's spoilers, but so also what also I got like a nice support system at that point in time, because while I was crying, and I didn't even make that connection afterwards, I just made that connection now, but while I was crying, one of my cats lay down, not that cat, not the noisy one, the quiet sort of like force in my household, Faith, she lay down on top of me, and she never does that. She's done that maybe once or twice in the entire time that I've had her, so in over 2 years. She never lies on me, and so she came over to lie on top of me around that time. And so now I'm just wondering whether she was sensing that I was, sad, and that she wanted to give me some comfort. Perhaps not, but that's the interpretation that I'm going to give to it, because it has been like 8 months probably since the last time that she has sat on top of me, and that was the first time that she'd ever done it. So, like, it would be very coincidental timing otherwise. But so yeah, I am going to continue with it now. I have definitely been flying through it, as you can imagine, because when I updated you guys this morning, I was like 80 pages in or something like that. I am now 330 pages in. It isn't all like super sad neither, it's kind of divided into 3 parts: good days, bad days, and better days. And at this point, I'm in the bad days, so that's why things are quite emotional. But I think like 2/3 of the book, for example, are the good days, and so then we land on the bad days, and then like I think the better days are only the final chapter or something like that. Hey guys, I finished it. 5 stars. Loved it. I feel like I just got sort of like a free therapy session in order to deal with the emotions that this book stirred up, I guess. Like, even though the things that Eleanor is struggling with, or the majority of the things that Eleanor is struggling with, definitely aren't things that touch upon me. Still, I feel like I've been through every single emotion with her throughout this book. I've, shared the good times, the bad times, have been very happy when she was happy, I've just really empathized with her a whole lot, really felt this character a whole lot. And so the therapy session also did me good, and the cry definitely did. But so absolutely love this one. It's definitely not what I expected it to be like when I started it. I did not know anything about these sort of like traumatic past or anything like that. I really expected it to be more along the lines of sort of like a Bridget Jones diary, for example, or something like that. A lot more light is what I expected it to be. But yeah, it was just so much more than what I expected it to be. Now I can totally understand why this was doing the rounds at the time, why this was something that, so many people were reading and loving. I'm definitely now one of that clan. And so, yeah, absolutely enjoyed that read. I am gonna I am gonna stop this reading vlog right here, because I'm gonna dive into another book now, but that one is actually going to be for Secret TBR. But so yeah, a good week for me. I'm happy that after these sort of like difficulties I had with emoting to the Jasmine throne, I then immediately went into a book that immediately caught my attention, that I immediately engaged with and empathized with the character so much more than I did with the Jasmine throne. So it's been a nice change from that read in that respect. But so yeah, I'm going to be leaving you guys with that, and so hope you guys have a wonderful reading week, and see you guys for the next one.